really well today. I need to apologise if the signal is absolutely shockingly bad, because I'm in Menorca and the Wi-Fi is awful, and the normal signal from the SIM card is terrible as well. So hopefully you can hear me as well with the earpiece in. That sort of normally makes sense. Let me just check to see if it's, yeah, it looks like that's on there as well. So hopefully it's not going to be too bad. Let me know in the chat how we're doing today. Football, of course, as we know, is basically back today. Last time I checked, it was Newcastle Villa 0-0. Yeah, so let me know how we're doing today. I'm trying to get on every day as much as I possibly can, just to get ourselves through it. So where are we at the moment? So obviously Belieber is pretty much finished, isn't it? I know there are some people who still hope that the Belieber deal can still be done, but that's not going to happen. The Belieber deal's done, so we can talk about that. We can talk about what we think about the Belieber stuff. You know, do we think that the Belieber stuff was real? I did have an opinion on this one as well, but where do we go next? Do we go Hjumland next or Wharton? Let me know in the chat which one you think that you would prefer to go for. I know what I prefer to go for. Neil Crow said, I still feel we need an Agume, Kamara partner, Wharton, Hjumland. I agree with you, Neil. I think you're spot on, mate. I think we need two. I'm of the opinion that we definitely need two, but we won't get two. You know, we've been, ultimately we've let ourselves down in this window, and I still feel very disappointed. But I think that we need to move on. So again, Agume, I think that that's a good shout. I mean, I've seen different people come out with that opinion as well, and I don't disagree with you on that one, my friend. I think that we definitely need that. Wharton, defensive. I think so. What I saw today, which goes against some of the stats that I've looked at, is that Wharton is more defensive than Belieber, when I actually think it's the other way around. I think Belieber is definitely more of a defensive tackling midfielder more than Wharton. I thought Wharton for me is more of a sort of not quite a 6. He's defensive, slower, but I think he's more of a sort of number 8. But a lot of what I've seen out there is saying that Wharton's definitely more defensive, but I think Belieber is definitely more number 6 type, whereas for me Wharton is a number 8. Now, what we said yesterday, and this is how I feel. So we got to think about this, right? So I think Hjumland is the deal that we can do easier. Frank Senior says, and I apologise if I pronounce your name wrong. I'm shocking at name pronunciations. Also, I apologise if the stream's a little bit up and down just because I'm away. And yeah, I am at the behest of the Wi-Fi signal. So I think you're right. I think Hjumland is going to be the easier deal to do. Now, the price around Hjumland, United will get relegated, hopefully. Hisha Varney, welcome to the chat. What I will say, and I don't think you're being disrespectful, you're just passing an opinion. I'd love to know why you think that. Just give us a shout why you think that. Obviously, if you do get into the chat, just be respectful to other people's chats. You know, if you're from a different club, put your opinion in, as long as it's respectful, which I think your opinion is. Let us know why you think that. Let me know what football team you support. I don't mind the banter, just as long as we're respectful in the chat. You know, we keep swearing down, keep the vile opinions away from the chat. But I don't mind. If you want to tell me why you think we're gonna get relegated, let me know about your club. Yeah, I mean, I'm not a dictator of the chat. I just bring you my opinion. You know, and we can chat about different things that you want to, as long as it's roughly in and around what we're talking about. I don't mind if you move me around in the chat. So My day's going well, sir. I'm on holiday. I apologise if the stream drops or whatever else, just because I'm away and yeah, the signal is not the best. I hope you are doing really well as well. Yeah, can't see Palace selling or Wharton, Guehi, Eze, so Hjumland looks more realistic. Neil, I think you're spot on, mate, and that's exactly what I was going to say. You've kind of helped me there. Yeah, I agree with you totally on that one. Um, you know, I think that you're right. I think that Wharton is not going to go. You know, they can't let those three players go. And also now they don't need the money, do they? You're looking at a couple of weeks left in the transfer window. To let him go, they're going to want 80, 90 million now, and it's not something I think that we can do, and not something that I think we should do. Obviously, don't forget in the chat to like, favourite, and subscribe, even if you don't like me. Get in there for the chat. This is an amazing chat. You've got people like Neil Crode, who's a legend of the chat, comes on here, gives us some really valid opinions. You know, I don't mind if we disagree in opinions. You know, I'm never going to shout your opinions down, unless it's a valid opinion, of course. But I'm happy to get in there. No, I mean that. Hisha says no, I mean it. That's fine. Gilbert, and I don't like to say this, and I'm very much I don't like to ban people, but Gilbert, you're a prat. So get out of my chat. You're an absolute prat. So you're getting blocked. Yeah. People come in here, and yeah, they're quite vile, but that's fine. We can just take them out. So Wharton and Hjulmand is now coming from Romano, is coming from Ornstein. Well, it's coming from Fabrizio, basically. I think that's kind of where we're at on that one. I think we've Edison thing's been mentioned in the past, and you know, you've got people on here like Neil makes some really good points. You know, Agume, you know, that Onana, not the keeper, the Aston Villa midfielder as well. I think we need a pairing. I do agree. Kamara as well. Osama Emma, again, you know, I'm going to block that chat. It's ridiculous, mate. Yeah, silly. Which profile of midfield is needed right now out of the two I mentioned? Neil, I think we need two, mate, because Fernandez is not a number 8, is he? He's a 10. I think we need a defensive midfielder. I think you are a gold digger, Asima, my friend. You are getting banned, so there you go. Absolute idiot. I do not like the way you disrespect a legend, Ollie. Disrespect for the club. I'll come back on that one, my friend. I will come back for that. Hashir, I think you make a good point, and I will come back on that one, my friend. Neil, I think we need a box to box, more of a defensive minded. It's difficult, right? Bruno's not a number 8, but he's going to play that position. So therefore, I think we need more of a defensive right now. I think we need a new pairing. I agree, but I think we need a more defensive midfielder. I think we need a all-rounder. Is Wharton that? I think we need somebody who's not ultra defensive. We need somebody who can defend. I think we just need an all-round. I'd probably go. We need somebody energetic. So is Agume energetic? You know, we need somebody who's energetic. I think Hjumland is. I think he's more energetic, possibly, but I don't know. I just think we need somebody. I think we need somebody who's in the engine room. That's what I think, mate. I think that's exactly what we need. But I do agree with you that we need a partner. Hashir, I do not like the way you disrespected Ollie. Disrespect club after he did for you the same as CR and De Gea. Hashir, I didn't do anything, mate. The fan base didn't really do anything, so I don't know why that's aimed at us fans, my friend. I should be more aimed at the club. Ollie, I don't think we disrespected Ollie. Ollie had no tactics, limited, as he got shown. He didn't get sacked for no reason. It wasn't like, you know, he won stuff. It wasn't like he did anything new. You know, Cristiano disrespected himself. You look at the interview that he did with that Wally. De Gea, I agree with you. I think we disrespected him. I do not disagree. But CR did his own thing. He didn't want to be at the club anymore. That was on him. He did that interview with Piers Morgan. He's still a legend of this club, but he disrespected himself. And Ollie's result, mate. You look at the results under Ollie, and they were terrible. One-dimensional manager, still a legend of the club, but you entitled to your opinion, my friend. Jamie Johnson says, "Hello, fella. Leeds fan here. What was your honest opinion of us in our pre-season game? I was very impressed with that. Welcome to the chat, my friend. Leeds fans always welcome here. I was quite impressed with Leeds, to be honest with you. I thought, I can't remember that player that you had down the left-hand side, but I thought Leeds looked really good. I thought we looked terrible. You made us look ordinary. So I being a United fan, but again, I don't hold a grudge. I just think that we're not in a position to. I think, my friend Jamie, I think that Leeds hopefully will stay in the league this season. Is what I like is that it's always nice to have rivals like Leeds, we're and Liverpool and those sorts of teams in. I think that hopefully Leeds will do well this season. And I was impressed with Leeds. I was impressed with Ahmad. But yeah, I thought Leeds made us look ordinary, particularly at that early stage of the pre-season as well. So fingers crossed, my friend. GT, hi, my friend. Could you save me, please? I wish I could, my friend. Tell me what you want me to save you from. Hi, brother. How are you? I'm very well, my friend. Soka says, hi, everyone. New crowd, yeah, it doesn't feel like we are looking at a profile play outside Belieber. Hopefully I'm proved wrong. Do you know what, Neil? You make a good point here, my friend. How can we pivot from Belieber to a completely different sort of profile of player, which shows me, again, when you start to have faith, or you start to not buy into it, but when you give people the benefit of the doubt, and I was giving Ineos football side the benefit of the doubt, and then they're looking at Belieber, which I think was the right thing to do, and we pivot, I just think that shows a very scattergun approach, which I always feared, to be honest with you. Belieber for me was the one. I just don't see how you can pivot from a player like that to a Wharton. It's something completely different. We need an engine room player, and how can you pivot? Hjumland's not that either, is he? You need a defensive player. So I just don't know what I don't see how we pivot. We need a player like a Hjumland. Toxic legend on the chat. Big up, my friend. Hope you're doing really well today. Premier League's back, right? I'm excited about Premier League. It's fantastic that he's back. I think he's great. I just think that what we're going to see tomorrow, and if you have just joined, Fabrizio, I was Belieber. I know, my friend. I'm gutted. I was absolutely all in on it. I've even sent a message to Ross Harwood, not because I think he was right, but he needs to take the L on that one, and he needs to come out and say it as well. So, I've taken the big L on that one. I think he needs to as well, to be honest with you. So, I was Belieber in. The stack is quality signing. Yeah, exactly. I think Leeds have got some good signings, and I was quite impressed with them as well. So, Douglas Luiz is going to Forest. I see Edison, Hjumland, and Wharton as an option. Yeah, toxic. I think that Luiz for Forest is a great signing. Jim Johnson, I appreciate your comments, buddy. That's him. Yeah, I agree, mate. The problem is, right, how do you go from Belieber, that all-out tackling energy room player, to like a Hjumland? I mean, Hjumland for me is not that sort of player, but I think we need somebody in there who can play Amorin's system. genuinely, that's what I think. So I don't know where we go. But if Amorin wants Luis, he can easily hijack him. I don't think he does, mate. I don't think he does. I think we would have gone for that deal already. I really do think we would have gone for that deal already. At this point, I don't know what we do. Also, at the point, I heard that Lemens is somebody in Italy. Chief Herb, welcome, my friend, legend of the chat. I've heard that Lemens could be off to Italy. People are sniffing around him as well. I don't think we're going to get a keeper. My opinion on that changes day to day. Keeper-wise, so Lemens, just keep an eye on that one. Lemens could go. I think that would be a travesty. I think that would be an absolute waste on our part. I think that would be criminal. Should have gone from Belieber. I agree with you, mate. I'm still gutted on that one, but we've got to move on, right? We've been through worse. Sporting captain Hjumland, how is he? Haven't seen much. Amorin system, I don't think is what we need. I think we need more of a defence-minded engine room. I don't think that he's that. Don't get me wrong, he's still going to be fit, but Premier League fit is something completely different, right? He's a great player. He knows Amorin's system inside and out, but for me, he should be playing in the Fernandes position. The problem that we got is if we have two sort of Bruno Fernandes types, we're still going to have that gap. So I think we need a defensive player in there, and going for Belieber to Hjulland is like completely different player. Can't repeat that 10 I give it. No, I agree with you. I know Wharton, he is good. Wharton, yeah, I think I'd probably prefer Wharton actually, but as Neil Croder's already said, I think he's on. Crystal Palace are going to lose Guehi, going to lose Eze. They're not going to want to lose him. Otherwise, we're going to end up paying 90 million. And we can talk about that as well, actually, because there's a lot of stuff coming out about that. All I can think is we are going to try and put Belieber partner in place for 2026 when we go back from Neil. Again, I don't disagree, but realistically, if you're not in Europe or Champions League, can we compete for him? And we will come on to that as well, because there's a couple of bits that have come out about that, but that's a good point to make. Don't see the deal with Hjumland happening. We're going to go Premier League signing, not manager signings. Chief Herb, I think that's a great point. If you have just joined, don't forget to like, favourite and subscribe, of course. Even just get it in there for the chat. This chat is fantastic. Between us all, we get things right and wrong. It's just such a good conversation on here, so don't forget to give us a like. I don't see the deal with Hjumland happening. We're going to go for Premier League signing. Yeah, I mean, for me, Wharton would be the one. I don't know where else we go in the Premier League. I've not heard anything else. I know Steele has been mentioned in the Bundesliga. I think he's injured right now, but Agume, all these players have been mentioned, but it seems to me like Amorin is following that Ten Hag path. I think Chief Herb's right as well. I do, but we can't keep following that Ten Hag path. Go and get these players that we need to do something out of the box. Now, why can't we find the Beliebers before they go to a Brighton? Why can't we find these players? Bournemouth have just signed a replacement for can't remember his name now. That Liverpool left back that they signed. What's his name? The Kirkes deal. So they've just gone and signed another Kirkes for like 15 million. It's ridiculous. We can't do that. So I think that's ridiculous. Hope you're right, Chief Herb. Wharton proven. Yeah, he is, but I think that the Crystal Palace can't. They're not going to let him go. Not going to let him go. Not going to let him go, my friend. I'd rather buy Agume or Stiller. Yeah. Chief Herb, I think you're right. I'd rather go for those you mean, or, rather go for those sorts of players. Majin says, yeah. Don't know what you want me to reply to Jesus, but Jesus as in Jesus Christ, or Jesus as in Jesus, this is a really bad window. All are welcome here, my friend. So interestingly enough on Belieber actually, so one of my opinions was, right, and why I was sort of not praising Ineos on the football side, but I was given the benefit of the doubt, and I said that there's no way that Ineos would, on the football side, would go into a Belieber deal not knowing it's going to be like £100 million. Okay, so I thought that they were going to go into the deal. Now Brighton wanted them to bid blind, but they wanted like 100 million up front, and we just said no. So what the hell were we doing, putting it out to the media saying that we were going to go for it? I just don't know. Patrick Ennis, again, I don't like calling people out, but you're a prat. What an absolute stupid thing to say. Just, I don't know why people put things like that on here. I'm going to see the chat and you're going to get banned, so don't be disrespectful, don't be racist on here, mate, because I don't really see what that proves. So you just show that you're an absolute prat. So now JB, since Belieber's not coming, there's no point in keeping Agent Anana. Exactly. People were calling Anana Agent Anana. Exactly. That's a great point, my friend. Yeah, Anana needs to go, but I don't think he's going to go, is he? James Johnson said, excited for the season? We all are, my friend. Nonto is a guy you mentioned. Yeah, he's. There was another guy. Nonto's brilliant, but you've got this other guy down one of the wings. He's brilliant. I think he was a new signing. Absolutely fantastic. Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited for Leeds to be back in the league as well. It's always nice to have a little bit of fire in there as well. So, yeah. I'm not up to date with your transfers, but I'm humble opinion. Rasmus is an absolute joke. Wash. Yeah. Rasmus, for me, I mean, I'd keep him only on the basis we need 2 strikers. But yeah, I think Rasmus is at this time. I feel sorry for the lad. Rasmus coming in at 20 years old, leading that line. I think we failed him, but I don't think Rasmus is up to it either, to be honest with you. So I think that's probably a really intelligent thing to say, my friend. Last season and a half, decent striker would have put away double. Yeah, I don't disagree. He's not blood, but so happy in his 3rd kit. I would have loved to have been in the 3rd kit, mate. I just don't know what we do. So yeah, so just quickly back to the Belieber stuff, because the more that I talk about him, the more that I still hope he's coming, but he's not coming, is he? Yeah, so I don't know what we were thinking about that deal. We knew it was going to be about like 100 million, but we bottled that deal completely, and I don't know what Ineos thought that they were going to do. So again, I've gone back to what I originally thought on this, and it's a scattergun approach, isn't it? They don't know what they're doing still. How can you go from Belieber to Wharton or someone else? It's a completely different. They may surprise us. As I say, the window's becoming obvious now, and then we've got Arsenal on Sunday, and we can have a little look on that. And like Rasmus Anana's confident with his 3rd kit, I know he is. Jamie Johnson, apologies, first live I've commented. I'm keeping it. Jamie, no need to apologise, my friend. You keep hitting away that like, that favourite. Jamie, no problem at all, my friend. Don't have to apologise in here, my friend. No problem at all. So Arsenal, let's talk about Arsenal for a bit. Arsenal, what do we think we're going to do tomorrow? I don't know. I think we could catch Arsenal cold tomorrow. Do I think we're going to win? What I've said and what I still think is right is that we're going to have a very up and down season. I want to give Amorin 2 seasons. That's what I want to do. I want to give him 2 seasons. I think it's fair. Last season, and I'll give you my full opinion on it, because I'm not just Amorin blindly. I think we need to be realistic. He's still got the same team that finished 15th, pretty much. Okay, the front 3, 200 million. Now, as I say, I demand first every season, because that's the standard that we need to go for. Okay, but we're not going to do that, so we can't. So that's not going to happen. He's been given 200 million. You look at Emery. Emery came into Villa, and he changed that club kind of like mid-season. Maybe he had the players to play his system. Ineos brought Amorin in. That's up to them. Okay, they didn't need to do that. They didn't need to bring him in, but he chose to come. He's been given pretty much the whole of a season. He's had a pre-season. He's got some players. Now he needs to coach. He can't keep. If you read the presser or watch the press conference that he did, he's already coming out with excuses. And I get it. I get he's not got his full team, but the team selection is on him. If he's got to work with this, he needs to get the best out of these players. And if he can't do that, and he finishes 15th again, 14th again, then we may have to accept that he's not the guy. And I'm fully prepared for that. I'm prepared that I want to give him the full season. That's what I want to do. I want to give him the full season. I want to make sure that we give him every chance to succeed. But what I feel is going to happen again with this coach is he's not going to be given what he wants, and I'm not going to be comfortable sacking another manager who doesn't have his team, who's got an excuse. I want a manager to go because they don't like have an excuse. You look at the results like yesterday. Liverpool 4-2, yeah, fantastic result, but Bournemouth don't lie down. They've lost a couple of their players. They've replaced them, and yeah, they lost 4-2, but this is the Premier League. They're no pushovers. I don't see what we're going to do. Tomorrow, I don't want to see Luke Shaw. I want to see Shesko up front. I don't want to see these defensive-minded players. We're going to play defensive tomorrow. I can already read it tomorrow. He's going to go defensive. He's going to go for this counter-attacking team, which he's got his system. Why doesn't he use his system? And that's the bit. And he's going to play tomorrow. So he's going to play this defensive. James Johnson said, "Good luck for the season, mate. I'll get you a pint in Peacock when you come to Leeds." My friend, I've been to Leeds, right? And I've been to the main strip, right? The amount of pubs down there. There was this pub, and it's like I think it used to be a banquet or something, and it's amazing inside, and it's non-branded beer. That's quality in there, mate. But I'll happily come up to Leeds, my friend. We can have a chat over a pint. We don't need that. We don't need that Beliebers to City, Chelsea. I'll call it first right here. Chief Verb, I think you're right, my friend. I think he goes to City, Real Madrid. I think that's where he goes. Unless we get Champions League and that sort of money. Brighton wanted a wall. That's what they want. They want 100. I think they want 150. I think they want 130, like 150 million pound for their player. I hope they don't get this player. One of the things we've not considered as well, by the way, is sales. So I think once his window ends, we can come back on. We can judge the next couple of games. Look at how we played. Look at where we are. Look at the window as a whole. And right now, I'm just going to say it. I think our window is going to be. I don't think our window is going to be great. Sancho. I'm going to say it here. I think Sancho stays. I think Sancho's going to stay. Anthony will go at the end of the window on loan. We're not going to sell. I think Garnacho will be the one that gets sold. But what price will we get for Garnacho, I don't know. Garnacho, by the way, it's Romano reported that Chelsea have already spoken about him. So he's going to go. He is going to go. But is he going to go at the back end of the window? We won't be able to get players done. So that's going to go. We don't need. What's the point? Taking 150 million, investing it. Exactly. I think that we need more players. With hindsight, Belieber would be great, but we're not that club. We need to be more like a Dortmund. We shouldn't be, but we need to get these players before they go to big clubs. We need to make these players. We need to go. As you say, we need to go to the French league. We need to go to the German league. We need to go to the Belgian league. We need to go and get these players. Otherwise, what are our experts doing? We've apparently got some of these, good experts in the scouting side, but I'm just not seeing it. I just don't see it myself. So I think, and if you look back on some of the things that I've said already, one of my biggest fears is coming true in this. We're proving that we're not very good in the market. So fast forward to tomorrow. Let me know what you think. What you think our score is going to be tomorrow. Who you think we're going to play. Sancho said you're not a player until I book my coffin. Looks like he ain't going anywhere, Chief. I think you're right, my friend. Roma stuck in a 20 million bid, like a buy bid and an obligation to buy. He's not going to go, is he? He's not going to go. You know, he could leave next season on a free. Somebody will give him money up front. Okay, yeah, he's not going to get the big wage, but somebody will give him 15 million. You know, he's a mercenary. You know, he's an absolute. I think Garnacho's worse, to be honest with you. I think he's worse in the way that he's handled it. Sancho is not as bad in terms of he's not making waves because he knows he's staying, but he's just as bad because he won't even go take a bit of a pay cut because he wants that transfer fee. So, you know, there's players at this club now like Amorin was right, wasn't he? Let's be fair to him and that. You know, to kick these players out into the bomb squad, I think he's right. I think he's 100% right. I think he's absolutely right to get rid of these players. Jim Justin, all of my in-laws are United fans, so you'd be amongst friends. Jamie, I'll take you to that pub, right? Because they do a pint, right? It's like 13-14%. Jesus, mate, it is like ridiculous. But yeah, I'll come and see your in-laws, my friend. He's like a leech, not taking the bait. Even salt don't hurt his skin. Exactly, mate. When it comes to money, people and fame, people change. You know, how much more money does he need? Like, how many millions does he actually need? You know, I get it. You know, would you do the same in his position? I don't think that I would. You know, you can say, you know, you would if it was millions and millions on the line, but at what point does it not come about respect? At what point do you not have respect for yourself? The kid's not really played in. Sancho could go to a World Cup if he focused in and had an amazing season. Why can't he go to the World Cup? Like, I just don't get it. So Garnacho is a fantastic player. Yeah, but the thing is now, I'd agree with you, Jamie, in that one. But he's basically imagine a player, imagine like a Nonto, right? Who wants to go, but then he starts wearing like a rival team shirt. He doesn't want to be with the fans. You know, he does everything he can to get like out of that club. It's come to a point where I agree. Beforehand, I would have said, he's a young kid. You know, we can't treat him like that. But the way he's treated the fans, the way he's treated the club with such contempt, he's got to go. You know, he just has to go. He just has to go. You know, I agree that the talent's there, but he just has to go now. So he's done that to himself. You know, he's done that. So I agree to a point, but he's just messed his career up in terms of us, and I think it's sad, mate. We just already, even Cantona wanted to leave after getting suspended, but exactly, Sancho just needs to go, doesn't he? So you got Sancho. I think Hjulmand doesn't really want to go. You know, Hjulmand for me, I think Hjulmand for me, I think is a bit of a sad one. You know, I don't really want him to leave either. But yeah. So I think where we are going into tomorrow against Arsenal, I think it's a difficult one. I think it's got 2-2 written all over it. I think it's got 2-1. We tend to be okay in the first game of the season. I think Old Trafford being the first game of the season, I do think we could fudge a victory. I think we're going to play counter-attacking FC. I don't think it's going to be a very good game. Jamie Blue Eyes, welcome to the chat, mate. Garnacho and Sancho are players we don't need at our club. I want players who would die for the badge. Jamie Blue Eyes, mate. I'm somewhere in between sort of that. I just want players who don't necessarily want to die for the club, but I respect that opinion. I just want players who want to play for this club. I want players who want to die for their teammates. I want players who play for the fans. I want players who, You know, nobody really dies for the badge anymore, but I get that. I just want players, mate, who want to play for the club, who know what this club's about. Hey, JB, I think I've run out of JBs. Good. What about Jack Black? I agree with you, though. I want players who want to come into this club and play for the badge, who want to play for this club, who want to play for the fans. Now, I don't care if they don't want to play for the club. I want them to respect the history. You know, people have died playing for this club. You know, people have died playing here. You know, people need to respect that. You know, we that's what we do. We need to have players who understand our history, who knows what it's to play for this club. You know, to understand that young players in their prime died for this club. You know, players who come in and there's a level of respect, even if you don't want to play for the people who own the club. You play for the fans. You know, you play for yourself. You know, out of your own career, and the respect and the fans that adore you. You know, the fans that will imagine that, right? Imagine playing for a club. The fans are singing your name. You know, they love you, they adore you, and all you want to do is just stick your fingers up at them. Wear rival. I mean, imagine wearing a rival team shirt. I mean, what goes through your head? You know, you know, if you look at the players that have played for this club, I mean, just to understand that and then want to do that. I agree with you. We need players who want to run through brick walls for their teammates, because you go to war. You know, if you went to war with people, you would do anything you can to go for war, and that's what we do every game. This club is we go to war, and you want to see the players around you and know, even if they're not the best players in the world, that they'll run through a brick wall for you, and that's what we need. I would love Wharton, but doubt they'll sell him exactly. Agree with you, Tulip. Legend of the chat as well. I'd sign a keeper and get the Dutch on loan. Believer Wharton next summer. Tulip, Believer ain't coming, mate. Sorry, Believer. I'll happily be proved wrong on that. I'd love to be proved wrong on that, but Believer's not coming next season. I just don't believe it. Wharton, possibly next summer. I agree with you on that. Luis, I think Forest. I think are quite deep in the deal with him. I can see Hjumland. Wharton, I don't think it's going to happen. I agree with Douglas Luiz, yeah, and the keeper close to the window. Lemens apparently is going. Yeah, I've seen Lemens. There's an Italian club sniffing around him, and I believe we'll have a better suit. Exactly. And if we're not in the Champions League next season, then I think we're done and dusted. So on that note, guys, I am gonna love you and leave you just because I'm on holiday, and the family are going to want to know where I am. If anything does break, I will come back on. Tomorrow's the Guna Gambler. I'll try to do a watch along for that, so I hope you can come there for that. Don't forget to like, favourite, and subscribe. Let your friends and family know to jump onto this chat and get in. This is the best channel. Now, guys, as I'll always say, is that one thing in life you can't buy is time. And you give me your time, you give me a minute, a second, hour, 40 minutes. It means more to me than you'll ever know. I think it's really important to say it to the chat. As long as we are respectful to this chat, I think this is some of the best chat. Some of the things that we've predicted, I've been right, I've been really wrong in some stuff. You guys have been right. And different opinions make this channel what it is. And this chat, so it really means a lot to me. Legends of the chat, and this is the one thing during my day I love doing this. So wherever I am, I've tried to jump on and do this stuff. So thank you, guys. Fingers crossed for tomorrow. If I don't speak to you again, have a great rest of your day. Whatever you're doing, take care, look after each other, and see you guys very, very soon. Have a good one. See you soon, guys. Take care.